Welcome to Porsche Patter with Bracken Helms, the show where we hear Bracken and his distinguished guests from the Porsche community patter on about Porsches and all things automotive. Porsche Patter is sponsored by Circuit 64. Circuit 64 creates authentic automotive apparel made for like-minded automotive enthusiasts. The links for Circuit 64 are in the show notes. Okay, let's get to it.
John Benton, Part 5. This is the final episode. It's always nice talking or interviewing with John Benton because he's just blatantly honest. He doesn't tiptoe around things. He doesn't sugarcoat things. If you ask him, do you like this car? He'll tell you, yeah, I love it. Or, oh, it's a mediocre. Or, oh, I hate it. Where a lot of people are like, I don't want to offend anybody, but it's not my favorite car. There's a lot of questions that I wish I could have grilled him on a little bit more, dug a little deeper. Like, I still don't know who this Jeff guy is. I guess it's his friend, but I could ask that. Mostly, I wish I could have gone a little bit deeper with some of his opinions on certain cars. Like, you know, he answered them, but I didn't really dive back in to push him on it a little bit because we were there for 3 hours. I took 3 hours of his time. I think within the first hour of us talking, I'd only gotten through like 2 or 3 questions. And so I was a little bit like, we're going to be here all day. He's going to kill me. I mean, I've got so many questions to go. And you can see at the end, this last interview, one of the final questions I ask him, he goes into how hungry he's getting. Anyway, here's the final John Benton. Okay, I wrote Skyline GTR effect. What I mean by this is, when that Nissan GTR came out, it was fast and it did everything right. And all the publications thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Mm-hmm. And not 1 year went by where they started being like, well, you know, it's kind of lost its soul and stuff. So do you feel like some of their cars are just like, they will just do everything so perfect? Oh, this is so great, but they're kind of losing their soul because they'll do everything and they kind of just not drive themselves.
Even the GTR, I don't know if it's a purist car. There's a basket of people in the universe, and in that basket of people, there's a number. And if you appeal in a certain way to that demographic that's going to appreciate something, you get tons of play out of that. And ultimately, they're in business to sell a shitload of cars. I get that. It's marketing and stuff. When Porsche built a mid-engine car and called it a 911, my head exploded. I lost total respect for the brand.
Their race car?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's not a fucking 911. What the fuck? It's not a 911. A 911 has a motor in the fucking back. That is a major fucking design change. You know, I in my head, it just doesn't work. And maybe that's me being hard-headed, but to me, they could have named it all kinds of shit, but it certainly is not a 911. 911 is a rear-wheel drive, for the most part, rear-engine automobile. A 911 should have the engine in the fucking back. Nothing's going to change my opinion on that. And now Porsche's talking about they're all into the future, which is autonomous. And they probably will eliminate the shifter at some point. As a romantic, to me, you should always serve your base to the end. Even Porsche said it. The last car will be a sports car. What the fuck? You know, I got interviewed by these guys from Germany. They're called Cars and Coffee Stories or some shit. And they asked me this really funny question about, what do you think about autonomous cars? And I said, well, for me, driving is like akin to sex. It's something I do for pleasure and fun. It's not all about making babies or getting from point A to point B. Those are certainly things that take place during that effort, but I certainly don't want a car to have sex for me. I'm going to get in my fucking car and tell it to drive me somewhere. I get the appeal of that, and maybe I would have a car for that when that's the era. It's safer, it's better, and it fits better into the world we're in. So in order for Porsche to survive, they may have to do that. They may have to. Why couldn't they just relegate that to Volkswagen, you know, or Audi? Some other brand that they have an attachment with. But in a world where I can't jump in an old air-cooled car and go through the gears, maybe miss a shift or find the wrong gear when I don't need it and get a little hair on my back, come up, whoa. Life happens in that little place where you're out on the edge a little bit. And then the peace that takes place also in an older car where you get everything right. You're just on the cruise or in your favorite little spot like we talked about, and you're pushing. You actually find this weird little piece. You're like really solid in the moment. It's kind of fun.
So I guess thoughts on Porsche today, all their new models with all their customers.
Why can't Porsche build me a stripped down 4-cylinder fun 912, a modern 912? Why can't they do that?
That's kind of my next question. Do you feel like we'll ever have a car like it's just straight enthusiast where they put all their money into it? The best car is not always going to be the supercar. It's going to be one that's just lightweight and as simple as possible and smaller than the 911.
I want that so bad. Well, they have a chassis for it.
But do you really think they're ever going to...
Boxer chassis. Earlier I said there's no way they could change my mind. There's only one way they could change my mind. Build a little fucking lightweight car. It has to last 5 years so they get their money out of it. So people make their payments. It has to be safe so somebody fucking eats shit. It's within acceptable limits so they don't get a class action lawsuit for building the world's most unsafe car. Even though arguably they've built some of the world's most unsafe cars early in the day. Like everybody else though. But in a modern era, they have certain criteria they have to, but the new Porsche is opening some new chapters, like Porsche Classic. I can't imagine that's making any money for them. It's something they're trying to build up, and they have a hope or a dream. I don't know. If a company is profitable at that level, and they can have some fun, and they want to do something that gets some attention, you're telling me that they'd rather build an, oh my God, bulbous 911 with 85 electric motors in it and active suspension and automatic transmission and all these things that make it like a Honda. And that's going to garner the respect of the automotive world on some level for sure. But on the enthusiast level and in magazines and at shows, you're telling me that if they build a super lightweight, oh my God, fun car that has less than 300 horsepower, weighs less than 3,000 pounds, has killer brakes, super simple, that's not going to make people go, what the fuck? Because it would make me do that. And I know I'm not alone. And I would do whatever it took to buy that fucking car. I believe they could make a car that's $50K, that's super fucking lightweight, it has airbags, it has seatbelts, it will pass the crash tests. But I don't give a fuck if it's not so many dBs in the cabin. I don't give a shit about a little rattle here and there. I don't fucking care. I want a modern fucking car with a warranty that has a 6 or 7 speed transmission, which would be fucking incredible, and a power plant that revs to 9,000 RPM, that's lightweight and simple. I don't need ceramic brakes anymore because it doesn't weigh shit. I just need good brakes.
What do you think's the perfect starter Porsche today?
A Boxster, even though it's not my cup of tea. If you want to buy cheap and get something that's actually pretty fucking fun. I mean, I have friends with Boxsters, and I remember driving the first Boxster S. I say, if you're going to get in, get a Boxster S. You get a Carrera transmission, big fucking burly brakes, engine's not so bad. Most of the corrections have been done already. Fuck, anybody can finance 10 Gs if they don't have the money.
Yeah.
They got a Porsche.
Favorite track?
Favorite track? Oh my God.
Or race?
Well, Le Mans is like the fucking deal as far as a race. But if you want to go really fucking fast and get scared, Button Willow's pretty fucking hairy. You can get killed there. Phil Hill. There's some off-camber turns that are pretty gnarly. If somebody eats shit, you can get in the dust and just totally get wadded up.
Fastest you've ever driven, where at, what car, why?
Fastest I've ever driven was 176 miles on the old road out of Vegas in my Chrysler 300.
What do you mean old road?
There's some old roads out of probably 66. There's some old roads. We left SEMA.
I know my friends, I'm from Utah, and my friends lived in southern Utah, and there was back roads to get to Vegas. So there's probably back roads that continue, but we would go the back way, and there was a lot of straightaways like coming down into the valley.
Yes, and they're not graded completely, so they have whoop-de-doos. And what happened was, we were some friends, and we were going to go to, I was going to take them to Boulder, where the dam is. So we got off the main highway, and we were taking the old road towards Boulder after SEMA. And there was a Roush Mustang there that I'd seen at the show. And I was going about 90 on the old road, and I had a bunch of luggage and my friends in the back seat. They're all like half asleep or sleeping. This Roush comes rolling up. My car was completely delimited. It would go over 200 miles an hour on the dyno with no wind resistance. So this Roush comes rolling on me, fucking flashes, passes me, and I'm like, this is fucked up. There's no way he can beat. So I rolled in, and I passed him going about $145. He ran out. I think he was limited because there was nothing left. I rolled past him. So I just stayed in it because I couldn't see anything on the horizon. my tires weren't really rated for that shit. So I was kind of like, I'm pushing it. I'm going to kill everybody. But anyways, I just wanted to prove a point against this Roush, which was getting a bunch of attention in the magazines and shit. I got up to a $176 and I felt my wife's hand on my leg. So I rolled back down. That thing was fast, smooth. I had to set up so good, totally stable. I know it's stupid, but that's me. You know, look, man, I know these other guys that have shops and stuff or they're influencers and shit. They know so much stuff about like what happened in 1976 and 55, and they know the displacement of this and that. And I like cars. I love Porsches, and I don't fixate on all this like minutia. I just don't. And if I see something cool that I like and it's fun, like that Chrysler, I'll put what I got in it and have fun with it my way. And when I did that, I actually built a business on that with a friend, but it collapsed because he was an idiot. It wasn't about passion for him. It was about making some bucks, very short-sighted. So that company got killed.
Advice for someone that wants to modify their car.
Keep it simple. Realize that the bulk of the handling and braking improvements that you're going to get are from the tires. You know, the first thing is start on the bottom, work your way up. Like anything else, your car was built a certain way to make money and perform at a certain level. But, you know, you can eliminate the low-hanging fruit is where it's at. So get the best tire you can, have an alignment shop, do what's necessary to get suspension angles and settings that lend themselves to performance, not to longevity per se. Because even they cheat on their test cars for the magazines. They don't tell you what the fucking suspension settings were at Car and Driver. They just tell you it's this your car, this displacement. And then they don't tell you that maybe they added some shims and did some shit. So tires and suspension settings. After that, then it's, you know, but keep it simple. Concentrate on the simple things first, you know, so you don't spend all your money and end up poor and can't even drive a fucking car because you can't afford gas. And go prove what you did. Take your car out to a weekend, Sea Cones, time trial, slalom, whatever, and then change the tires and suspension set and go do it again and see the magic that happens. And you might discover that, fuck, this thing's awesome the way it is.
First real ride in a Porsche.
A ride, yeah. So first real ride in a Porsche, I was probably 12, 13 years old. I was in my cousin Mike's 911S, and it was fucking beautiful. Tangerine, you know, blood orange.
Yeah.
Pretty much stock, but made incredible sounds. But that was first ride.
Song you want to play while driving?
Oh, that's funny. Well, I got my worst ticket ever listening to a song I used to just blaze in the 80s. It was Rebel Yell, Billy Idol. So there you go.
Best drive you've ever had?
Best drive ever. Okay. Best drive ever was me and my buddy Jeff Trask in Santa Ynez Valley back in probably 2000, maybe 2004, 2005. We took this epic ride out of Santa Ynez, and we ending up somewhere by Neverland Ranch. And there were squirrels everywhere. We both had our youngest sons with us. There was nothing stopping us. No law enforcement, no oncoming cars, only our conscience, because we both had our sons with us. But we had the most epic day, just hauling ass, changing positions and weaving past each other on these little farm roads. For me, that was probably one of my favorite days in a car, just driving, having fun.
What were you driving?
Mine 12.
What gets you excited?
Lunch. Every day. Super excited for lunch.
You are part of the 912 registry, right?
It's one of the founders, yeah.
How long has it been around?
97.
What do you like about your job?
Well, I mean, what I like about my job is it makes you want to get out of bed every day. I'm fired up. It keeps me fired up.
Did you or do you have any mentors?
There's definitely a list of mentors, yeah. And I'm still looking for them. I still haven't met them all. I mean, you may become a mentor. You know, I'm feeding off of you right now, your enthusiasm. But as far as mentors, like early on, first mentor, probably Ed Daniff. Because of my situation growing up, I always gravitated towards people that I thought, oh, he's cool. He's cool. You know, he's doing something cool. I'm going to go, I want to see what he's doing and know him. And sometimes we became friends to the day they leave the planet. That's how I am.
If you could interview or talk to someone like I am right now, to anybody, who would it be? Who would you interview?
Oh, wow. And I mean, there's like different people that would be really awesome to interview. But for you today, at this moment, who would I like to interview so I could get some answers to the mysteries? Living or dead?
You can do both or one or it doesn't matter.
Well, I would love to sit down with Ferdinand, Professor, and really just talk with him life. It would be very rewarding because obviously he was driven. Lived in one of the most tumultuous times in history and did what he had to do, and he never gave up the dream. And here we are today, you and I having a conversation about it.
Yeah.
So it's almost cliche, but it's an honest answer.
Embarrassing moment.
I have a couple of them. Yeah, on my honeymoon, we stayed at a place that had a little courtyard with a private jacuzzi, little grotto area, and had some nice French doors, beautiful room. We got settled in the jacuzzi and had some snacks, some drinks and stuff situated where we could stay there. And then I forgot something. So I got out of the jacuzzi and fucking French doors locked. So I had to scale the little grotto rocks up to a wall and walk naked over a wall so I could get to a window and take the screen off to get back in the room. And while I did it, I heard a little voice say, "Dad, there's a naked man." That was embarrassing. In a car thing, embarrassing car moment. God, there's been a lot of them. Well, embarrassing car moment. Guy came from Germany, wanted to hang out, came to the shop, one of my older shops, came out. He was here for a week, and he asked me what I was doing over the weekend. I said, well, I'm going on a drive with my buddy Jeff. We're going to go shoot the canyons over between here and Laguna. He asked if he could come. I said, sure. So I like to think I drive pretty well. This guy, although being fairly large stature, was fairly demure, very peaceful and quiet, but he hung out. He was very excited, and he's my shotgun, which I normally never do. I'm chasing Jeff down. That's hard to do because Jeff absolutely was one of the best drivers I've ever met. I'm in an area I hadn't been in that Jeff had been in before, and I was struggling to keep up, and I kept keeping just the tail of Jeff's car in view, and I'm trying to read what he's doing so I know what's coming up. It's just a lot of S's and sweepers and stuff, and really high speed. We're rolling really hard, very technical. But I've never been here before, and he hasn't made a peep. He's been very good, and a couple times it got pretty hairy. Eventually, I came around a corner, and it's a fucking stop sign, and Jeff stopped. And I'm rolling, man. I come around, blind corner, there's nowhere, I was going to crash into him. So I swerved, and then there's a ditch. So I just stepped on the clutch and brake and turned the wheel. So I would just scrub and spin and stay on the road. But we're at the T intersection of this bigger road, and I passed Jeff going backwards and then kept spinning and ended up facing oncoming traffic in the middle of this big road. And I was fucking embarrassed. I mean, it was embarrassing because I totally screwed the pooch. I almost killed this stranger from Germany. He went to, "God, don't worry. We do this all the time." So that was embarrassing. Maybe not on an epic level, but that was an embarrassing driving moment for me. I try to avoid being embarrassed like the plague.
Yeah. So if you had one wish, what would it be?
A wish? That's a big one. You get one fucking wish? Holy shit. I don't think about shit like this because I'm more realistic about things. You know what? My one wish, if I have success for my children, I want them to be happy.
If you could be a fly on the wall, where would you go?
I would like to be a fly on the wall in a boardroom at Porsche, see what they're up to. I'd love to know what they're really up to.
If you could do a redo in life, what would it be?
There was that night in the Philippines. That's all I'm going to say.
If you could go back in time, what time would you go back to?
1976.
And why is that?
Oh, man. The racing was epic. You could still get leaded fuel, build whatever you want. The music, you could absolutely just have fun. There was no AIDS. The Vietnam War had ended. There was some hope that we would move past that. The new cars sucked, but the car culture and all the things, it's just a really cool time to be alive. Did you call the AC guy?
No.
Thank you, Jeff. We know you didn't.
That's cool. Thank
Okay, so what is this? What are we doing right here?
Green car is done, by the way.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
We're going to give it to him. As soon as you give us the okay, I'm calling him and telling him to come get his car.
Tell him to get today.
You are the arbiter of today. You're the arbiter of success for Benton Performance. Your efforts will directly affect everyone in this building. No pressure. And not only that, the guy that owns that car since 1969, he hasn't driven that car in 25 fucking years. So all the efforts of us and you are going to culminate in him for the first time
Make him happy.
sitting in his car and driving away going, oh my God, I forgot what this is like. He's going to shit. I hope he has some Depends on because he's going to.
Yeah, it depends on. What does it depend on?
It depends.
So I was going to ask you at any point in life where you had apprehensions or fears.
No, you know what? I don't roll like that. I just make up my mind and do it. But probably the scary moment for me was when I left home, when I bailed out. It wasn't a great day. I lived in my fucking car. I mean, and I was still going to high school. So it was tough. It must be really hard these days to do that. I don't know. But see, for me, I didn't care if I had to sweep floors or clean toilets. I didn't care. I would do whatever I had to do to make a few bucks to do what I had to do. I've never set my goals too high. I don't disappoint myself over and over again.
Yeah.
Little by little, incrementally, ramp up.
What do you fear? Do you have any fears?
Oh, yeah, of course I have fears. It's kind of what makes you choose what you're going to do next. But I have more hope than fear. You know what? The reoccurring phobia I have is that a big double tanker is going to fucking lose its shit on the freeway and smash me. They're so dangerous. Whenever I'm on the freeway, like when I ride my motorcycle, I'll see a tanker up ahead and I just like kind of switch over the lanes and just squirt to get around. I wish they had their own like truck lanes. Like cars and trucks don't have to mix on the highway.
What is your prized possession?
Well, my time. It's all we have. Every second we get. I mean, this is precious, what we're doing here right now. I mean,
what is something most people don't know about you or would surprise people?
well, I've been shot in the head. Fuck.
What question would you ask yourself?
Why do you continue to eat junk food? I swear to God, I would. It's a question I ask myself all the time.
Any other crazy or exciting story you have not told me yet?
Well, I didn't know my dad. My mom brought me here when I was a little kid, toddler, from East St. Louis. And my dad did pretty well for himself. And when he passed away, we were notified.
Where was he living?
He was living between Illinois and Florida. He had properties in both states. He was a pilot for an oil company. He also had some dealings. I don't know exactly what was going on, but he was flying a lot between Florida and the Bahamas and for some company, some oil company. When he passed away, I had a substantial trust that was left for me unexpectedly. But teen angst and the fact that we didn't really know each other and the fact that my mom struggled so much, I guess I felt like a punk taking his money. So I waived my inheritance and my trust, millions of dollars. The irony was 6 months later, I was living in my fucking car. So I guess ultimately I chose my own path. Probably would have been a major game changer for me, but that's something a lot of people don't know about me. I could have been a little fucking trust funder bitch when I was 16, but I'm not. So there you go.
You could have had your sugar, whatever you called it earlier.
Uncle Sugar.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, comment, like, and share with your friends. Feel free to send questions or suggestions to the email in the description of the show. Special thanks to our sponsor, Circuit 64. Goodbye for now. We hope we can get together again for our next episode. Now get out there and enjoy the cars and the people.